Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Biology for All. In this video, I'm going to talk about some points that you need to take care of while writing an extended essay in biology. According to the IBO, extended essay is an independent, self-directed piece of research. This has to be completed with a 4,000 word paper. It is one component of the IB diploma program that is mandatory for all students. The essay should have an introduction, a background information, methodology, variables and hypothesis, procedure, process data, analysis, discussion and evaluation with improvements, and a conclusion. Introduction is where you give an initial account of your investigation. Here, you mention the topic of your investigation. Why are you doing this investigation? What was the motivation behind doing this investigation? How will this help globally or locally? How do you plan to do this? So all these come under the introduction. The background information is about your investigation. Here, you mention the concept of your investigation. It should be an answer for how does the concept in your investigation work rather than what is the concept. You should be stressing on the biological mechanisms involved in your investigation. Next, we come to the methodology. Now, methodology is where you are going to talk about what are the tests that you're going to perform and why are you going to do that. Now, is there any other test that you could have done? If so, why didn't you do that? Did you perform any preliminary test? And how did that help you modify your investigation procedure? Now, if you're working on a secondary data for your extended essay, what are the sources that you will choose and why will you choose those sources? That has to be mentioned. How will you analyze the data from that sources and how many of such sources are you going to choose? Why and how are they valid for your results? And hypothesis. Now we all know about the variables. So mentioning the independent variable, the dependent variable, and all the control variables are important. For secondary data also, it is important to mention your independent and dependent variables along with control variables if it is possible to be mentioned. The hypothesis here is important because this is what you're going to test, whether your hypothesis is true or not. Now, when you are mentioning the hypothesis, make sure that it should be in a proper statement. There are cases where students tend to write an entire paragraph and the examiner has to actually read it twice to understand what is the hypothesis. So make sure that it is in a proper sentence and you give a proper scientific reason for that, whatever hypothesis you're mentioning. Other than that, another important thing that you need to follow here is that is your hypothesis in accordance with your RQ or research question? That has to be checked properly. The methodology and the procedure. Now we have already talked about the methodology. Most students tend to get confused between methodology and procedure. They are two different things. Methodology talks about how you will perform the investigation and what procedure you will follow. Did you create your own methodology based on some preliminary work or you're following an already given procedure? The procedure is the actual steps that are performed by you in order to get your data. Once the procedure is done, then comes the data collection part. How do you write the data collection part? You have to note down the observations that can be recorded and that can be of benefit in your analysis in the form of qualitative data. The quantitative data has to have a minimum of 5 independent variables and a control. there has to be at least a minimum of 3 trials. For survey and other data collection, minimum 80 to 100 data points is always best. If you have a huge amount of raw data, it's better to be put in the appendix and only the process data table to be put in the main essay. For secondary data, mention the sources and what type of data you have collected, and it's always better to show a processed data table from all your secondary data. After the data collection comes the data processing. So processing of the data is going to be in accordance with your hypothesis. So ideally you are testing your hypothesis here. So the processing has to be in accordance with that. You need to make sure that you mention the uncertainty of the instruments that you have used. In case of secondary data, there may not be an uncertainty. However, you need to check on the papers that you have taken the data from. Plot a graph of your process data and give an interpretation. Now, interpretation is just what you observe from the graph. You do not need to mention an explanation for it. After that, you need to check out whether you need a statistical test, and if there is a requirement of the statistical test, which one will you be doing and why you will be doing that. After your data processing, you will be now analyzing your results, discussing the analysis, and giving an evaluation for it. So, when you are doing the analysis, that includes the representation of your results in terms of a graphical or a mathematical manipulation or anything in that. This will also reflect about your ability to select specific data from sources or identifying their relevance and relationships, etc. Evaluation, on the other hand, is a reflection on your results. That means you are discussing any kind of inadequacies in your design, the validity of the results that you got, any limitations in the experiment, or any systemic errors that were there. These things have to be evaluated, and you have to be as critical as possible in your evaluation. Conclusion is the last part of your essay. This has to be given in the form of a separate heading and not combined with your discussion. Here, you need to make a concise paragraph about your direct response to the RQ or hypothesis. Here, you may even restate your RQ and hypothesis here. Avoid giving any new information or arguments, and make sure that this is a summary of what you have written earlier and is supported by your data or any other evidences with the arguments you have already presented. Along with the concluding statement, you also need to identify any gaps in your research or any new questions that may have emerged and which may need further discussion. So you can just mention it as a small paragraph in the end. Let's now have a look at the criteria of the extended essays. The first criteria is focus and method that carries 6 marks. This mainly focuses on introduction, research question, background information, and the methodology. So all this, as I have already mentioned what all you need to do in this, please follow the same for that. Criteria B is knowledge and understanding. So knowledge and understanding is basically looking into all whatever you have written about your research and how are you relating the biological concepts of your research in the background information and in your analysis, conclusion, evaluation in all these places. The third criteria is critical thinking. Critical thinking is an important part since it carries the maximum weightage here. It carries 12 marks. And here the main focus is on your processing, that is the analysis, how you have done the analysis, What type of statistical test have you done? Is it correct or not? How have you then evaluated your analysis, and how have you discussed that? Have you done it critically? And then how have you given the conclusion? Criteria D is presentation, that carries 4 marks, and this is one of the criteria where you can expect full marks. You need to make sure that the title page has the title and the RQ both. There is a content page with proper page numbers. You have marked all the tables and graphs with proper titles. The referencing format is the same throughout your essay, and in the bibliography, there has to be access dates for the website that you have accessed. This will definitely give you full marks. Criteria E, engagement, again carries 6 marks. This is basically evaluation of your reflection on planning and progress form, that is the RPPF form. So here again, when you're writing your reflection, you need to make sure that it is mostly evaluative and not descriptive. So whatever decisions you have taken in your extended essay process need to be evaluated here. And it also should give the examiner a sense of your intellectual development and your creative and intellectual initiative here.